Hello, this is a quick video to discuss the results of quiz number 2 that we just completed about a week ago. First of all, let's look at the overall grades. You can see here 19% of the students got A's, 5% got B's, 22C, 24D, and 30% got F. And that means 54% of the students in the class got a D or an F. The class average was 69.7%. These results are a lot lower than I've had in the past for quiz number 2. I've been teaching this course for 40 years and 20 years in the hybrid format. And this is probably the lowest set of scores I've seen. So I wanted to dig a little deeper into it. So I looked at the data and analytics available to me through Canvas, and I want to use some of that to kind of take a deeper dive here. Again, here's the distribution at the top, but what I wanted to do was show you that there's a correlation with the practice quizzes. The practice quizzes are provided to help you be prepared for the regular quiz, and you can see that the A and B students did very well on the practice quiz, but the F students, the average was 5.5. Now let me point out that there were 4 attempts available on the practice quiz, yet only about a third of the class used all 4 attempts. A lot of students did not use all of their attempts in order to try and learn what they could. Another thing I want to point out is about 8 points out of the 10 on the practice quiz were multiple choice questions, where if you missed it, you had a chance to ask yourself, why did I miss it, and then make another attempt. But I think what a lot of students did was, if they missed a question, they just guessed at the next one, and so they didn't really learn anything. So what I'm trying to say here is, use the practice quizzes. If you use the practice quizzes, I think you'll see that you'll have a lot better results on the regular quiz. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. This was one of the questions on the practice quiz. 47% of the students got it right. There were 4 attempts available. Let's look at this in a little bit of detail, because this covers one of the most fundamental aspects of the course: understanding interest rates. You need to understand nominal, periodic, and effective interest rates. So let's go on to the next slide. The question was asking, you have $1,000 in savings. You are paid $10 interest every quarter. Find the nominal interest rate. This is a fundamental question. R is the nominal interest rate that we're looking for. So I have a little sketch here, shows 1 year, 12 months. Each quarter is 3 months, and $10 is received as interest payment. So let's look at 1 quarter to get the periodic interest rate. The periodic interest rate is $10 divided by 1,000, or 0.01. That's a rate. The nominal interest rate doesn't take into effect compounding. You just multiply it by the number of periods in a year, and that would be M, although it shows N there. I times M, 0.01 times 4 is 0.04. This is the answer. Yet, with 4 attempts, only 47% of the students got this right. Now on the regular quiz, quiz number 2, there were 16 problems. 4 of those required that you make calculations and put in your answer. These were calculations based on cash flows that were typical standard cash flows that you would find in chapters 3 and 4. Those 4 questions were worth 30 points. You can see the A students did real well on those, but most of the rest of the class did not do very well on those, and that's what dragged down their scores quite a bit. Now let's look at two of those questions just to make the point here that you need to understand the basics. One of the four questions was if you saved $3,600 a year for 30 years at 8% interest, you would have how much at the end? This is a classic question from chapter 4. You have a uniform series. What's it worth at the end of the analysis period? This was simple. It was yearly interest, and which was 8% for 30 years. Here's the cash flow diagram in the upper right. You could solve this two ways. You could solve it with notation. So 3,600 times the F over A factor, 8% 30. Look that up, and you get this number here. Or you could do it with Excel using the FV function, 0.08 interest, 30 years, number of periods, and then the next field is the payment field, the uniform series, 3,600, and you can see that you get the same answer. And I could tell from the data I received in the analytics, some students did it one way and they had 80 cents after the decimal, and some students used the Excel function and they had 56 cents. I could tell exactly what students had done. This is a basic problem that you should be able to do if you studied chapter 4 at all. The next question was a chapter 3 question. Just these were lump sums, and you have a future value of 10,000, and you want to know what did the present value need to be for it to grow at 12% compounded monthly for 10 years. Compounded monthly means that we have 12 periods in a year. The annual interest rate is 12%, so we have to divide by that to get the periodic interest rate, 1%. So here we have the cash flow diagram on the right. And the tables don't have all these values, so this one you have to use the Excel function. PV, present value, is 0.01, interest rate, 120 periods. You don't have a payment, you have a lump sum, so the next field is 0, and then 10,000, and you get the answer of $29.95. So I have some concerns here. I know that some students, many students, it's a Cal Poly problem, are struggling with too much work and too many classes. So that is a problem, and so you have to somehow cope with that. Many students are not organized for success, and I'm going to talk about that more in the next class. The YouTube analytics shows that students are not watching the videos, which means you're not watching the material, getting the lecture, and then, of course, not taking notes, or you're not watching all the way through. I get detailed analytics on all that. So I know that's what's happening. I want to make a note that this is a hybrid class where you're expected to watch videos and read the book to get your material. You had the opportunity to take a full face-to-face class where you could have gotten full-blown lectures, but you chose to take this class, so it's your responsibility to watch the videos, take notes, read the book to the extent you need to, and do all the homework, and I give you practice quizzes and then the regular quiz. The practice quizzes help, but you have to use them. Some students are looking at the fact that they're only 10 points. They're not looking at the fact that that 10-point effort could help raise your grade 30 points or 40 points on the regular quiz. If you still don't understand chapters 3 and 4, you're still going to continue to struggle. So anyway, I'm going to stop with this. I'm going to have more things to say, but I don't want to put it in the video. I'll put it in announcements. You need to make sure that you're paying attention to announcements, reading them completely, following instructions in your assignments, and watching videos and taking notes. Okay, I hope that helped. Talk to you later. Bye.